Today, UNDP is handing over 26 automated weather stations and 10 automatic rainfall stations to the Meteorological Service Department, while 10 near real-time gauging stations for measuring river flows are handed over to Zimbabwe. These sets of equipment, valued at $500,000, were purchased under the Green Climate Fund, whose aim is building climate resilience of vulnerable agricultural livelihoods in southern Zimbabwe, and the Zimbabwe Resilience Fund, usually commonly known as ZRBF. This partnership is aimed at advancing the national climate resilience building agenda, where Zimbabwe, like most parts of southern Saharan Africa, is perennially affected by one of the several hydrometeorological hazards impacting heavily on rain-fed agricultural production systems and often with grim consequences on socio-economic development. Climate information systems are therefore key in advancing the climate action and adaptation impact potential for the country. Ladies and gentlemen, with the limited capacity in interpreting climate information and prediction products and their impact, the need for additional weather hydrological stations and other monitoring systems remains pertinent. The UNDP Green Climate Fund and the Zimbabwe Resilience Fund project thus seeks to complement various government needs and incentives in making the ministry a conducive place to achieve the climate adaptation milestones as outlined in the country's national determined contribution. The intervention by UNDP reiterates the work being done by the ministry, especially in the National Framework for Weather, Water and Climate Services Strategic Plan that was carried out in collaboration with UNDP ZRBF, as well as valuable contribution from the Global Framework of Climate Services. This is aimed to address the adverse impact of climate extreme against the ever-looming threats of climate change and to improve early warning in support of timely decisions that can contribute to saving lives and property. In this regard, may I take this opportunity to applaud and express my deepest appreciation to the government of Zimbabwe for allowing a partnership extensive model where UNDP showcases the seamless transition from the National Framework for Weather, Water and Climate Service Strategic Plans to an action plan that enhances the capacity of the responsible entities towards a robust early warning and early action plan for the country. Ladies and gentlemen, let us also remember that the Green Climate Fund, support is complementary to the ZRBF Phase 1 achievements in building the resilience of valuable communities, especially women. All of this is predicated on stakeholders having resources to access weather and climate information systems. Before I conclude, let me appreciate the great partnership that UNDP enjoys with the ministry and its various partners. Leaving no one behind is one key principle adopted by the two programs, which resonates well with the National Development Strategy in Zimbabwe.
Where I have the opportunity to receive and hand over climate services and hydrological information services equipment that was procured in collaboration with GCF and ZRBF, handing it over to Meteorological Services Department under the Ministry of Environment and Climate, Tourism and the Hospitality Industry, and the Zimbabwe National Water Authority under the project Building Resilience of Vulnerable Agricultural Livelihoods in Southern Zimbabwe. Let me say, ladies and gentlemen, agriculture, the preparation of land for the cultivation of crops, for the rearing of livestock, and marketing of the crop and livestock produce on the local and international market is a source of livelihood for the Zimbabwean population. This is among other sectors like mining, tourism, and manufacturing. Agriculture provides a source of livelihood for 67% of the Zimbabwe's population, which resides in rural areas where they are engaged in farming as smallholder farmers. But of late, we have also seen the urban population increasingly taking on urban cultivation of crops and even rearing of livestock to earn a living and put food on the table. Hence, agriculture production, agro-industry development, and service provision for agriculture production and industrialization are the most direct route to rural transformation and attainment of urban food security. To realize Vision 2030, agriculture and agro-industries have to realize the vision much earlier. So we need to realize our vision in 26, much earlier, so that we drive employment, incomes, and standards of living of the populace to the middle income level by 2030. Agriculture faces a myriad of challenges, which I will not begin to list, but allow me to mention the most devastating challenge of climate change and availability, to which agriculture remains highly vulnerable. Due to climate change, nations are losing millions of US dollars to droughts, floods, emerging pests and diseases, extreme temperatures, and mid-season dry spells. Studies in Africa for the period between 2005 and 2015 show that drought leads the pack with the losses of 29 billion, followed by losses due to other meteorological disasters such as extreme temperatures and storms that have accounted for the loss of 26 billion between that period. We have also lost, as Africa, between this 10-year period, 19 billion to floods and 9.5 to biological disasters such as diseases. We have and are witnessing this in Zimbabwe. We are losing money to droughts, to floods, as a result of climate change. We have seen that droughts and floods are more frequent than ever. For instance, we used to experience droughts every 10 years. Now you can expect a drought every 2 to 3 years. In 2021, the country increased maize production by 199%. And other grains such as maize, such as soybeans, cotton, they also followed suit, increasing by 128% and cotton by 94%. This happened on the back of two things. First was the intensive government investment in climate-proofed agriculture on the back of the second issue, which is a good rainfall season, which achieved an average yield of 5.28 against the average of just slightly above 1 metric ton per hectare. The 2021-22 harvest was not as we all would have expected. The season started late. The rainfall distribution in space and time was not even, characterized by prolonged mid-dry spells. The result was poor germination. Some of the crops that germinated become a write-off due to permanent wilting. Production of maize fell by 47%. Traditional grains by 44%. And cotton by 41%. While soybean, because it's grown under irrigation, actually increased. Now, my theory is that we did not fall to below the 2019-20 production level as a result of the resilience that we achieved through the Pumbudza program. As we move into the 22-23 season, our theme as a ministry is BBB, bounce back better. And indeed, with such collaboration with the GCF and ZRBF, we will bounce back better. I am therefore greatly honored to officiate this important handover of meteorological and hydrological equipment valued at $360,000 comprising 26 automated weather stations, 10 automated rainfall stations, and 10 data loggers for hydrological stations. The 26 automated weather stations are being handed over to the meteorological department together with the 10 automated rainfall stations. The 10 data loggers are being handed over to Zinwa. This equipment will increase access to information, climate information. Cannot have come at a better time than now, today. Let me indicate that building resilience, climate resilience of vulnerable agricultural livelihoods starts with information. You need to know information about the risks and the causes of vulnerability. You need information about exposure and the likelihood of the risk. In this regard, I am happy to learn that once installed, this equipment that we are handing over today will greatly advance the generation and dissemination of appropriate climate and weather information to smallholder farmers for climate risk informed water and agriculture climate risk informed water and agriculture management in project districts. Agriculture is the top priority of the agriculture and food systems transformation, and its anger plans that include the agriculture recovery plan, the livestock recovery plan, the accelerated irrigation rehabilitation and development plan, the tobacco value chain transformation strategy, the integrated agriculture information management system, and many other investment plans that the ministry is developing. And these include the Fisheries and Aquaculture Resource Development Plan, the Agricultural Education, Extension, Research, Innovation and Modernization Plan, the Agriculture Marketing and Trade Development Plan, Traditional Grains Development Plan, and the Agro-Biodiversity Framework.
Today we are gathered here to acknowledge receipt of the essential equipment for our two ministries through the project entitled Building Climate Resilience of Agricultural Livelihoods in Southern Zimbabwe, covering Masvingo, Manicaland and Matabeleland South provinces. The co-funding partnership of the government of Zimbabwe and the UNDP through the Global Climate Fund has made it possible to make this vital equipment available. And I want to express gratitude for this effort to recapitalize our meteorological services department. The government of Zimbabwe has adopted measures to be an upper middle income country by 2030. And as indicated by the Chief Director, we want to be overachievers. We want by 2026 to have achieved our target of being an upper middle income country. In this context, the government of Zimbabwe, through the National Development Strategy, one is providing support to building infrastructure and equipping state agencies such as MSD to provide services timely to the people. The provision of weather equipment in partnership with UNDP is aimed at strengthening the capacity to generate and provide timely and accurate weather and climate data. Let me say that Zimbabwe has experienced a mixed fortune in the last 5 farming seasons. It is one of the key factors that has resulted in our proposal to partner the UNDP in addressing the challenges of planning for farming due to the effects of climate change in the southern part of our country. Due to climate change, we have had the most severe drought from 2015 that has impacted our food nutrition and security. In often cases, the dominant drought-like conditions are experienced every 3 out of 5 years, which is a compounding factor on our national staple food basket. The disproportionate distribution of rainfall over time in space has mostly affected farming activities. It is therefore critical that our government come up with measures that are highly capable of predicting seasonal and sub-seasonal weather patterns so that we plan ahead for our farming seasons. Zimbabwe is dependent on seasonal rainfall. Therefore, the collection of accurate weather information with this equipment will enhance the implementation of the resilience strategies for farmers to plan and implement measures that assist in managing the rapid changes in climate. It is therefore deliberate that this climate response program is being implemented mostly in the southern parts of the country. There are areas that not only suffer from drought, but are also highly dependent on food assistance that has an effect on the government annual budgets. The intervention will assist in vulnerable communities to access and utilize climate information to move effectively and manage climate risks as they make informed decisions in choosing which types of crops to grow and suitable climate resilient agricultural practices that also includes livestock farming. Our partnership, therefore, with UNDP and GCF has provided for 12 automatic weather stations and 10 automatic rain gauges that will go a long way in increasing strength of our MSD observation network. The AWS are needed for measuring weather condition, transmit data from remote areas, while the long-term objective is the complete coverage of the country with implementing a strategy in a phased approach to have at least 350 automatic weather stations. The department seeks to achieve a 20-kilometer radius between each station per World Meteorological Organization standards. This is a noble gesture and will mean that the department will fulfill its policy to have one automatic weather station per district and 1 rain gauge per ward. The equipment that we are receiving today will go a long way in achieving this policy. We are most pleased that the Trans-Hydrometeorological Observation has also 10 weather stations provided. In addition to the government of Zimbabwe, we have also committed to procure 47 digital stations to replace the mercury-based instruments at all our met stations that are dotted throughout the country. This is in fulfillment of the Minamata Convention, which Zimbabwe is now party to, which seeks to restrict or ban the use of mercury globally. This equipment comes at a time when government is continually committed to recapitalize our infrastructure by procuring and establishing a network of radar stations. And with that, we are very proud of our achievement. We have used almost 6.3 million to acquire about 5 weather radar stations that will be placed in Harare, in Bulawayo, in Kariba, in Victoria Falls, at Buffalo Range. The radar stations will enable the country to have broad coverage for the purposes of assisting in seasonal forecasting and sub-seasonal forecasting in precise and in real time. Therefore, we welcome the Green Climate Fund, which is leveraging government of Zimbabwe co-financing efforts to overcome technical, financial, institutional, and capacity barriers for small farmers, in particular in the southern parts of our country. And in the last decade, we have become more critically aware that drought interchange with floods, especially in the southern parts of our country, is a calamity on our economy. In the rapidly changing climate temperatures-induced droughts, frost conditions are also affecting our farming activities, and with the several dry spells, we have a disaster in some of our areas. And thanks to this equipment and the efforts being made by our colleagues and our department to re-equipping our institutions to respond timeously. Let me conclude by saying that the Southern Low Belt was appropriately selected for the implementation of this project because the farmers remain vulnerable to unpredictable weather in a changing climate. Through this joint effort by government and UN, I am most pleased that the communities are now well equipped to cope with climate change that will assist in building resilience and achieve household food nutrition. I can assure you that this equipment will play a pivotal role in providing sector-specific weather and climate information, and this will make us have informed sectoral decisions for our upper middle income economy that we hope to overachieve by 2026, if not late by 2030.
You move your goods off the shelves. Brand visibility engraves your brand in the hearts and minds of your old and new customers. SlyMedia TV has a package for everyone, big or small. It's called Everyone Can Stream. Corporate events, weddings, churches or funerals, we stream it all. We take your product and event to over 326,000 followers on Facebook and 96,000 subscribers on YouTube. We cross-post to over 6 pages with a reach of over 1 million followers from as little as $100 per hour. We give you the desired global reach. Call today for a free quotation. 263-772-863-484 or 263-775-964-849 or 263-773-761-800 or email on slymediastreaming@gmail.com. Sly Media TV, building bridges.